Welcome back to NAC for it, all YouTubers out there. Mac DeStroir here with another great episode for you. Still not quite sure how to install or reinstall Windows in 2018? Don't worry, you're not the only one. You're probably not the only one. You might be the only one. It doesn't matter because I'm going to walk you through it step by step, so stick around and check it out. This video is going to be about installing the ever-popular, and for a very good reason, Windows operating system. I will be actually showing you two different versions. I'll be installing Windows 7 and Windows 10. I'm not going to do Windows 8 because Windows 8 just kind of confused everybody, and Microsoft jumped the gun assuming everybody would have a touchscreen device by then. And no Windows 9 because Microsoft skipped Windows 9, so we're going to 10. Which reminds me of this something recently. I think it was from like a crappy phone company named after a fruit did something where they did an 8, they skipped 9, went right to 10. It's a weird copycat. You'll have to look into it, some weird fruit name. But anyways, let's get started. Now, before altering your PC in any major way such as this, and this is a very major change to your PC, be sure to back up all of your important files onto some type of an external hard drive like I have here. Highly recommended. They're pretty cheap nowadays. I think I got that from Walmart for about 120 bucks. It's a 4 terabyte Seagate. Works fantastic. However, I almost have it full now because I have problems, but that's neither here nor there. They're pretty inexpensive nowadays, so I might have to pick up another one. So get your stuff backed up, and when you do, continue on with the process. You'll need your installation media for your operating system, such as the CD or the USB drive that you'll be using to install, and you are going to have to get that loaded. Now for Windows 7, I'm going to need a CD, and I don't actually have a CD drive installed in my computer right now, so I'll have to temporarily install one so that way I can install the operating system, and then after I install it, I'll take out the CD drive because nobody really has a use for those things anymore anyways, and I'll free up some room inside there, and yeah. Now start things off by restarting your computer to get into the BIOS by tapping the little delete button when the computer boots up. Once you're in the BIOS, you're going to want to change the configuration of the boot sequence. So for instance, by default, the boot sequence loads up the hard drives first because that's where all the important information is. So we want it to load from the CD drive first. So you have to go into the BIOS, go to the boot options, change the boot order so that way the CD drive loads first, and then go ahead, save the changes, exit, and this time when the computer boots up, it should come to a blank black screen with some white text that says press any key to boot from CD or DVD. So go ahead and press a key. Windows is going to load some files, and then it's going to bring you to a window titled Install Windows. Go figure. You go ahead and check the appropriate settings for yourself and click the next button. Now you'll want to click the big Install Now button. And then on the next page, you'll obviously have to agree to Microsoft's terms and conditions if you want to continue installing it. So agree, click next, and on the following page, Microsoft presents you with two options for installing the operating system. One is a custom install, and the other is an upgraded install. I highly recommend doing a custom install. It's a clean version of Windows, it gets rid of everything else, and installs it fresh. Now, the upgrade option actually has a purpose, and that is only if you plan on reverting back to the previous operating system down the road. What will happen is Windows will take all the files from the current operating system on that hard drive and cram them into one folder called Windows Old. And this is convenient if you do need to revert back to your old operating system. However, I'd just recommend doing a fresh install of that as well if you want to revert back. It can cause issues software-wise, and it's not the best way of doing things. And say you decide that you don't want to keep those files for future use later on down the road. You can't really delete all the files from that folder from your hard drive. Some of them will absolutely stay remaining there, and I'm sure there's some type of a third-party program you can use to get rid of those files, but as far as just using the operating system itself, there are files that will not delete from there, so it just takes up space on your hard drive and it's kind of useless. And really the best way is to back up all your stuff onto an external hard drive. Like I said, that is the absolute best way to do things in my personal opinion. So now that you've gone and clicked custom, as you should have, it will bring you to a list of all of your installed hard drives. So if you only have one hard drive installed, it will just bring up a populated list of that hard drive. The hard drives may have separated partitions that coincide with each drive. You're going to want to locate the drive that you want to install Windows to, find all the coinciding partitions for it, delete those partitions, so that way you get one giant chunk of unallocated space. And then from that, we will use that unallocated space to create a new partition and install Windows to that. So get your unallocated space together, click on the actual unallocated space, and then click the New button. It will ask you how much of that drive you would like to dedicate to this partition, and in this case we're going to be using all of it. And you'll click Next, and Windows is going to start doing what it does. It will install files to it, and it actually separates into a couple of different partitions for reserve files and such system files. But Windows begins to install all these files, and it takes usually about anywhere from a half an hour to 45 minutes on a standard hard drive, but on my solid state drive here it took about 15 minutes. Go solid state. Once Windows finishes installing, it's going to restart your computer and boot you into the startup helper, where it lets you set up your date and time and your automatic updates and things like that. Go ahead and click all your desired options for those, and then it will boot you right into the Windows 7 environment. And now from here you're going to want to go ahead and install all of your important drivers and any Microsoft updates that you can get to install it to the newest possible state that you can, just to ensure that everything runs smoothly. Once you have all that done, you can install your programs and such. And that's it for Windows 7. So now on to Windows 10. Now for Windows 10, you're going to see basically the exact same process as Windows 7, and actually the process for installing Windows has virtually been exactly the same since I think Vista. It was a little bit different for Windows XP. But yeah, I think it started with Vista. Vista is pretty much this exact same install process, and nobody should be installing Vista for any reason, so 7 is the oldest you should be using. But yeah, like I said, virtually the exact same install process, and you'll see that now. So the only difference here is that for Windows 10, I'm actually going to be installing Windows 10 from a USB flash drive, which I'm going to make a video showing you guys how to create that as well if you're unaware. And to do that, you plug in your USB drive into your computer, and then do the exact same process of restarting your computer to get into the BIOS, so that way you can go and change the boot sequence, so that way it loads from the USB drive first. Once you change your boot sequence, save your changes and exit, your computer is going to reset, and then it's going to boot directly into the Windows 10 installation. It brings you to a window called Install Windows once again, and you'll select those options that are right for you, click Next, click the big Install Now button again, and then on the following page, agree to the terms and conditions. The next page is where you'll click the custom install. You will come to the following page of your hard drives, which you will again select the hard drive you want to use, and you're going to want to delete all those partitions again to create that one gigantic unallocated space. Create a new partition from that unallocated space, and let Windows install the files. Once Windows is done installing this time, it will again bring you into the startup helper of getting you through all of your date and time and automatic updates and little privacy issues, in my personal opinion. You can go through, but once you have all of that done, it boots you into the Windows 10 environment. Once into Windows 10, again, install all of your main drivers, and then update Windows to the most recent possible updates. And as I said, this just ensures that your computer is going to run smoothly. The Windows 10 installation took just about as long, maybe a couple of minutes longer than the Windows 7 installation, but nothing too crazy. And that's really all there is to installing Windows. It's really not that scary or that difficult at all. So have you ever installed an operating system before this? And what was it like your first time if you have? Go ahead and leave your answers in the comments below. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something new for the day. Go ahead and leave me any questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions for future episodes down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike the video if you didn't, subscribe to the channel to keep on learning, and thanks again for watching. You guys have a good one.